School is back in session in Port-au-Prince as the nation's youth resume a morning routine interrupted 10 months ago by Haiti's devastating earthquake. But 12-year-old Fabienne Joseph isn't attending. She was on her way to completing 3rd grade when the earthquake hit, says her brother, who also never finished school. He says Fabienne used to go to school, but their mom lost her business in the earthquake and no longer has enough money to pay her school fees. The January earthquake wrought havoc on Haiti's educational system, destroying or damaging over 5,700 school buildings. Teachers say it was a blessing from God that the earthquake struck at 4:53 p.m. 1 hour earlier, and thousands of students would have been in class and crushed beneath the rubble. The director of this elementary school in the city's Delma neighborhood was killed during the quake. But damage to schools is only a part of the devastation that the January 12th earthquake brought upon the education system in Haiti. The earthquake also put an untold number of Haitians out of work. Because 85% of Haitian schools are private, many parents cannot afford to pay school fees, which on average consume 40% of the family's income. Father of 3, Jean Wilbert, lost his home and his livelihood in the earthquake. He proudly shows his son's school photos, but laments that he no longer has enough money to send them to school. Every father wants their children to go to school, but since the earthquake, we've been put in a very difficult position. I worked in a grocery store, but it collapsed, and now I have no way to make money to send them to school. Stanley, Stephen, and Johnny spend most of the day playing and helping out around the house, but their dad makes them do homework each day to stay mentally active, hoping that they will one day be able to return to school. 11-year-old Stanley says he wishes he could join his friends at school. I want to learn things because I want to be a doctor when I finish school. And I want to go to a university, he says. Like Stanley, Fabienne is unable to attend school because her family can't pay the $160 annual fee. Fabienne used to attend class here at Max Weber Elementary School, which collapsed in the earthquake, but is now resuming under a roof made of tarps. Fabienne's 3rd grade teacher, Sophie Dorcius, says after the earthquake, her class attendance dropped from a dozen to just a handful of students, and Fabienne is not among them.
I'm worried she might forget everything she learned because of the earthquake. The earthquake affected all the children mentally, but Fabienne is so clever, so if she comes back to school, I can remind her. And hopefully she will catch up quickly.
Instead of engaging in mentally challenging activities, Fabienne's mother Bernice says her daughter spends her time at home, doing nothing at all.
Now they don't do anything. She used to help sell things and make money, but now our money is finished. All of my children want to go to school. This one here, I asked her what she wants to be in the future, and she wants to be a nurse. But I can't send her. I want them to go to school. I want them to learn what they want to do in life.
Educators worry that the time students like Fabienne spend away from school since the earthquake is contributing to an educational gap in which Haiti's most impoverished youth fall further and further behind their peers. Psychological counselor Belfeur Elmont says even students who returned to class when the school year resumed in April forgot most of what they had learned while they were away. Worse, the lasting trauma of January 12 continues to distract them from their studies.
It affected them mentally. I had one student who saw traumatic things during the earthquake, and afterward he stayed inside the house and refused to speak. He saw people die, he saw people fall from buildings. Those are the kind of psychological effects they suffer from.
Haiti's education experts disagree on just how many children remain away from school because of the earthquake. A recent study estimated that half of all children living in the 1,300 tent camps for people displaced by the earthquake have not returned to the classroom. But the director of Haiti's Education Development Cluster says 70 to 80% of all school-age children are back. Esmont says he's hopeful Haiti's educational system will recover, but he expects it to be a long process. It's very difficult because many parents lost everything in the earthquake, says Elmont. But many of these kids are strong, they love education, and they are eager to return to school, and they will improve this country.
aller à la campagne, mais après, ils étaient retournés encore, les blancs ont fini par aide dans le pays. Ils étaient retournés encore.
Mourir pour le drapeau, pour la patrie.